University, Hyderabad, etc. In 1985, Swamiji was to decide whether to join the former President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, or join the whole organization as a sannyasi, and he chose the latter. In 2018, IIT Kharagpur conferred on Swami Smaran Anand the prestigious Distinguished Alumni Award in recognition of his outstanding achievements and contributions. Swamiji has spoken extensively on the teachings of Paramahansa Yoganandaji at various universities and institutions throughout India and abroad. And today, we have the esteemed privilege to have him explain and demonstrate one of the teachings, Kriya Yoga, with us. The practice of Kriya Yoga helps the meditation practitioner to overcome physical disease, mental inharmonies, and spiritual. In essence, Yoga Satsang path leads one to an all-round growth through a balanced development of body, mind, and soul. In the proposed program, the importance and the science of meditation will be explained. Questions, if any, will be answered. Then interested participants will be taught by a meditation technique and a few energization exercises to recharge the body battery. Now, it is my esteemed privilege to hand over the stage to Swami Smaran Anand Giri. Hello, sir. Welcome. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Love and greetings to each one of you. I'm so happy to be among you, plumbing experts. Today's topic is the importance of meditation. Not only for spiritual progress, meditation is useful to conquer the anxiety, stress, fear, and other emotions we are subject to in daily life. Taittiriya Upanishad says, from joy we have come, for joy we live, and in that sacred joy, one day we shall melt again. In a world of duality where we see so much pain and suffering, such a statement may sound unrealistic. Isn't it so? Is it possible that I have come from joy and I can live in perpetual joy? It seems puzzling. We may not be able to understand the full import of such a statement, but the statement of an Upanishad cannot go wrong. We may not understand with the present development of our faculties. If only we practice the principles well laid out by ancient seers and sages, one day we shall vouch for the veracity of such statements. Yes, I can perpetually live in joy. Bhagavad Gita says, Svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Meaning, referring to yoga, Bhagavan Krishna said, even a little practice of this yoga meditation will save you from dire fears. Even a little practice of this yoga meditation will save you from dire fears. Mark his words. Bhagavan Krishna did not say that if you practice yoga meditation, you will not have any troubles in life. But the fear and anxiety that come out of these troubles can be conquered. Isn't it what we are looking for? We want to live a life free from fear. After all, we have no control over the events that come into our life, but we should have control on our reactions. That is possible with yoga meditation. As a result, we can be calmly active and actively calm. Like a prince of peace, sitting on a throne of poise and directing the kingdom of our activities. It's not that we're going to run away from our activities to find peace. Right here in the middle of our activities, but acting from a platform of calmly active and actively calm. That is possible. The result is, no matter what's happening around me, no matter what's happening to me, I can still be joyful inside. I mean, this is not my statement. This is something everyone can experience. You can experience, and I experience. It's possible. Let me share a short story. One person had a lot of difficulties in life, mainly financial difficulties and other problems that come out of financial difficulties, host of problems. He tried and tried and tried. Somehow he couldn't get out of it. Always, One night he had a dream. In his dream, God appeared to him and advised him, tomorrow morning you go to the outskirts of the town. There you will find a sadhu and ask him, he will give a diamond. That diamond will solve all your problems. And this person, before the sun came up, he rushed to the outskirts of the town. There he found a sadhu under a tree. He rushed to him and asked, diamond, diamond. Sadhu said, what? Because Sadhu did not have the dream. He had the dream. So he would not understand. What? He said, this Lord appeared to me and asked me to collect diamond from you. Oh, now I understand. Last week when I was roaming in the forest, I found one. This is what God must be referring to. So from his shoulder bag, he took out the diamond and gave it to him. Please take it. That diamond was so huge, so precious, so priceless. And that would solve all his problems and the problems of his children and their children. It is that valuable. He was thrilled in one shot. So he went home. That night he couldn't sleep. He was tossing around on his bed. Next morning, before the sun came up, again he rushed back to the sadhu. There he was, sitting still. He said, here is your diamond, please take it back. Why? No, you take it, I don't want it. Why? God asked you to collect it from you and I gave it to you wholeheartedly. Why do you want to return? Then he said, there is something in you by which you are able to part away with this diamond so easily. I want that something. The logic he used is, if I want to give 100 rupees to someone, I must be having more than 100. So you have something more valuable than the diamond. That's why you could part away with this so easily. I want that something. And that something is inner security. Inner security. That's what each one of us is looking for. We want to be secure inside so that no matter what's happening around me, no matter what's happening to me in my daily life, still I can be joyful inside. I can meet the challenges of life from that platform of joy, inner security. It's okay. Anything can happen. I'll do my best. I mean, that is possible. Meditation is the key. Meditation is the key. I'll give another mundane example. Suppose you have fever. You approach a doctor. Doctor normally gives tablet paracetamol. Paracetamol gives. If you take it 6 hourly, 8 hourly, or whatever it is, the temperature goes down. But is it all what a doctor gives you when you have fever? No. In addition to paracetamol, generally he gives another tablet. What is that? Antibiotic. Isn't it true? Because paracetamol will only reduce my temperature. But that is not complete relief. As long as I have that bacteria inside, the infection is inside, temperature will come back again. So that bacteria, infection has to be removed. That's why antibiotic is also given along with temperature reducing tablet. Now, unless the bacteria is removed, I'm not really free from disease. Not free from temperature. Now, I have these problems. I don't deny. I have this financial problem. I have this family problem. I have this professional problem. I have this social problem. I have the health issue I have. These are all real issues, real challenges. But if I try to remove this financial problem, it will come back later. Or this may be solved, but the family problem still remains. Our health issue is always there. So these problems, if you trying to eliminate problem one by one, it's only trying to have symptomatic relief. That is only temperature, removing the temperature. Until you remove the root cause of these external problems, really there is no cure. Isn't it true? Don't you agree with that? So we need to remove that infection, that root cause, which is causing the external problems. What is that root cause? That is ignorance, ajnan. Ignorance of our own divinity. You are potentially divine, as I am, he and she. We are potentially divine. They are all different expressions of the same divinity. Divinity is within each one of us. And that we are totally forgetting and trying to, we are living as mere mortals, and hence all the mortal problems. I mean, that's the thing. We have to remove that ignorance. Meditation is the key. I put it in some other words. So I have this body. I have a responsibility to take care of this body by right diet, right exercise, and the like. I have to take care of it. If I take care of my body, in turn, body gives me good health, mobility. But I also have a mind. I also have to nourish my mind by positive thinking, intellectual pursuits. If I nourish my mind, in turn, mind gives me intelligence, ability to get along with others. Isn't it true? Body and mind both I have to take care for a balanced development. Many people stop here. They take care of their minds, they take care of their bodies, but realize that we are of threefold nature. I have a body, I have a mind, I also have a soul. I have to cultivate my soul too. I have to nourish. What is nourishment for my soul? Meditation. Deep contemplation. Study. If when I nourish my soul, in turn soul gives me creativity and intuition. That unconditional joy, perfect love, infinite wisdom. Intuition doesn't come from my mind. It comes from my soul. Creativity doesn't come from my mind. It comes from my soul through the mind. So I have to cultivate and develop all my faculties like body, mind, and soul. Then only there is total development. Otherwise, somewhere I'm falling short. I mean, this is where most people in the world make mistake, not acknowledging the existence of soul within themselves and not trying to cater to the needs of that soul. That is the thing. Needs of the soul have to be addressed. Then only you are a full person, you are total development. Without that, hoping that you will be all right in life is folly. Can you take care of your body in all respects, forgetting about intellectual pursuits? Can you be happy in this world? No, mind has to be in a positive state. Similarly, soul has to be nourished. Well, that is the development. And meditation is the key. Now, I would like to take a short digression and address one question. What is God? God is a term, word we have been hearing from childhood. But did we ever stop and contemplate what is God? Let me tell you something. God, I mean, there are so many books, so many lectures spoken, books written. They're all right in their own right. God can be described many ways. For me, personally, this is what is meant by God to me. This is my personal conviction, personal experience. God is Satchidanand. God is Satchidanand. What does it mean? Satchidanand, again, we should understand. We know we've been hearing from childhood, Satchidanand. We name our children Satchidanand. But what does it mean? Let me explain this. God, now I have no concept of God at this stage. God, whether it's he or she or it, whatever it is, if there is some entity like God, can the God be sorrowful? It can't be, no? We are not making any mistake by assuming that God is joy. If there is some entity, God is joy. Let's start from there. I assure you that we are not making a mistake by this assumption. God is joy. But to say that God is joy is a grass understatement. God is not simple joy, not simple Anand. Because I'm joyful when I eat some nice food. I'm joyful when I meet some good people. I'm joyful when I hear some good news. I mean, this is joy we are used to. But this joy is so different. This is, God is not, for example, if I take a mango, I'm so happy. Second mango gives me further joy. Third mango doesn't give me the same joy. Fourth, I don't want to take. Because the theory of diminishing returns, theory of marginal utility. That applies to not only to mangoes, to every experience in this world, every experience in this creation. There is something which I like very much. Once, twice, thrice, fourth, slowly, it loses its charm. Isn't it true? But there is something in this creation which never fades. That is God's contact. The joy coming out of God's contact is ever new. God is not simple Anand. God is Nitya Naveen Anand. Nitya Naveen Anand. Ever new joy. God is ever new joy, not simple joy, ever new joy. Nitya Naveen Anand. I mean, I think that's the closest I can imagine for God. God is just all the time. It's like this. I'm sleeping every day. I never get bored of sleeping. That gives me so much rejuvenation, so much joy. Similarly, the contact with God in meditation, when you contact God in meditation, it's so new. Every day it's new. Never get used to that. Never fades. That is joy. That is God. Okay. God may be ever new joy, but what good it is if he is not aware of that joy. If he is not aware. One person is not enough. One is a rich person. He should be aware of his riches. Then only it's meaningful. God is not only ever new joy, he is ever conscious of his ever new joy. He is always aware. That awareness is there, ever new joy. Conscious, always conscious. What is consciousness? Chit. God is Chidanand. Ever conscious, ever new joy. It may be true, but what good it is there if it is there for some time and then it vanishes. As a human being, I can relate to events between my birth and death. This all I can do it. God is, God was, and God will be. God is ever existing. What is ever existing? God is ever existing is truth. That is ever existing. God is Sat, truth, Chit, consciousness, and Anand. Ever existing, ever conscious, ever new joy. That is God. Ever new joy, ever existing, ever conscious. I don't stop here. When I talk about God, I would say God is Satchidanand and Aham Brahmasmi. Meaning of Aham Brahmasmi, it's not my statement. It's not my Guru's statement. It is fundamental truth proclaimed by all religions, declared by all saints. Aham means I, Brahmasmi means Brahman, I am God. That means potentially I am ever existing, ever conscious, ever new joy. That's what I am. I mean, we may not be aware of it. We may not be aware of it. Sometimes a son may not be aware of the riches of his father. Similarly, I may not be aware, but this is what I am. Ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. That is possible. I can contact that ever new joy in meditation. So that is the definition of God. God is not there out there sitting somewhere in an antiseptic corner of the cosmos, sitting on a throne. God is right here everywhere. A spark is here. Spark is in you. That is ever new, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new joy. That is God for me. Something perceptible, something experienceable. I can experience. Okay, just before I move forward, I would like to explain this joy. Because joy is not something unknown to us. We are joyful many times in life, many times in the day. But what is this joy of God? To explain this, I will say that God's joy born of meditation, has three shades. It is physiological, it is psychological, it is spiritual. It has three shades. Physiological in the sense, suppose I take a mango. Something happens here, taste buds get excited, that's why I'm happy. And when I take a mango, no one needs to tell me that you have taken a mango, be happy. No one needs to tell me, because just physiologically I'm happy. It happens automatically. Same thing when you meditate and contact the God within, just contact God within, then automatically you are happy. Because God is joy and you are a part of that joy. No one needs to tell you that you meditated now, you be happy. You slept now for some time, be happy. No one needs to tell me. It's just experience. So that joy experience, excuse me, physiological. See, for me to be happy, I don't have to eat a mango or a sweet. I'm just sitting here, I hear some good news. Something happened to my family. Something good happened to my country. Something good happened to my company or something. Immediately I feel I'm happy. Some good news, psychologically. Same thing when you meditate. Physiologically, nothing may happen, but psychologically, that assurance is there. Security comes within. Yes, all will be well. That, because you are in touch with divinity, your own real self, psychological aspect of that job. Then, third one is spiritual. This is most interesting for me, most meaningful. To explain the spiritual aspect of joy, I would like to quote what Paramhansa Yoganandaji, our Guru, said. Paramhansa Yoganandaji must have heard. He is the author of this book, Autobiography Yogi. This for the last 75 years, this is being one of the perennial bestsellers in spiritual literature. This is available in 52 languages, including 13 Indian languages. And Paramhansaji said, when bliss comes over you, you recognize it as a conscious, intelligent, universal being to whom you may appeal, and not an abstract mental concept. Mark his words. He said, when the bliss, joy comes over in meditation, you recognize the joy as a conscious, intelligent, universal being to whom you may appeal. Meaning, when that happens, the joy comes in meditation, it is not simple joy that comes out of sleep or that comes out of eating something. That joy you recognize as a conscious, intelligent, universal being. That means comes the sense of higher presence, some higher presence. Without seeing anyone, without hearing anyone, you have that conviction and experience, some higher being. That is most appealing to me. Because it's not that you have seen someone. Someone may see God with 4 heads and 8 hands. Okay, if someone sees, I have no issue with that. It's okay. But that's not what happens in meditation, usually. Without seeing anyone, it is just the conviction, yes, some higher being, some higher presence, and who's full of joy. And that's what I am. So that's the beauty. Now, can you relate what Taittiriya Upanishad said? At that point, we may not be convinced. From joy I have come, for joy I live. In that sacred joy, one day I shall melt again. Because that's what I am. I am a part of that entire divinity, as you are. And each one of us has access to that. And that is what is meant by soul development. Contacting the soul within God. So that's what meditation does it. Next. Now, it is... now can you understand? There are saints who have lived in a lot of difficulties around, but never losing that joy inside. Like say Bhakta Meera. We all know her story. She had so many problems which you and I will never have. That kind of problems she faced in life. But she never left that joy. And she was always in that joy. It's always. It's like this. Suppose there is a mentally depressed person. A person is depressed, family and friends try to do something to pull him out of it. They arrange parties and music and special food and what all that arrange to him pull out of. Whatever may happen around, he may not come out. He may be still depressed. It's difficult to pull him out of that mental depression. Same thing. A person who regularly meditates, who contacts that inner joy, is always in that joy. It's difficult to pull him back, pull him down. You may have any number of difficulties here. Health challenges, professional challenges, financial issues, family problems, maybe there, but difficult to pull him down. That is possible to maintain for you and for me, if only we regularly meditate, scientifically meditate. Okay, next. Why talking about saints? I will give you some mundane examples, which I myself have, some of them I witnessed. So at IIT Kharagpur, when I was a research scholar, and one of my co-research scholars, he finished his PhD. Thesis was approved by external examiners, and last stage was Viva, that oral exam, that's final. Afterwards is awarded. And we are all waiting, and the external examiner was Professor B. Nag. He was at that time Secretary to Department of Electronics, Delhi. And he was the one who built the first computer in India. Professor B. Nag, in 1970s. This is happened in 1980, 81 March. We were all waiting in a seminar hall. It's a small hall, about 40, maybe 40 people were there like that. And Professor B. Nag came a little late with our head of the department, Professor Sarab. So as soon as they entered, Professor B. Nag, little late he came, where is the candidate? Because he wanted to greet the candidate, PhD Viva candidate, but before starting the Viva, where is the candidate? Then Professor Sarab took him to that. He was not talking with others, this candidate. He said, here is the candidate. As soon as he saw, Professor B. Nag just went like this. You appear, you are so relaxed, as if exam is already over. This is the comment given by an external examiner of the caliber of Professor B. Nag. You are so relaxed, as if exam is already over. Otherwise, exam means what? Tough. Whether it's exam is a boy of 10th class or a college student, or even a professional, when you have to present your report to higher ups, it's exam. Tough. What will be? That anxiety is there so much, how it will go our presentation, how I can convince them. Always it is there. But this man, he said, he has been meditating, practicing Kriya Yoga about for a year. He said, what is there to be tense? I have prepared. I didn't neglect my duties. I prayed. I'm ready. I'm ready to face the Viva. Don't you want to be like that? Every day we have so many exams in life. Every day, so many reasons to be anxious, so many reasons to be tensed. but it's not necessary to be so. I mean, that is possible with meditation. I mean, this is a real life story for which I am a witness. And another example I can give is a young IAS officer, real life story. He was in Patna at that time. Now he used to spend time in meditation morning and evening. My IAS officers are public servants. They are on duty 24 hours, anytime. His other colleagues used to ask, we don't understand, how do you work by spending so much time in meditation? And that IAS officer coolly said, I don't understand, how do you work without spending so much time in meditation? Because that is it, that time spent in meditation is the one which is giving me the strength. That is giving me strength. Which I have numerous examples, real life stories. So many are there. Okay. Then, just I would like to take one story and then go for scientific nature, science behind the meditation. The story is like this. There was one poor man. All that he owned was a piece of land, just one piece of land. He didn't have enough money. He put a thatched roof, a hut, and he was living there. And for daily living, he used to beg, a beggar, and live there. Once his health failed, he tried treatment, didn't work. Then having no other option, he sold his land and got some more extra money. And with that, he tried for better treatment. Even that failed, eventually died. After he died a poor man, died a beggar. The person who purchased this land removed the hut and wanted to build a big mansion there. And he started digging a foundation first. While he was doing it, he found under the earth a pot of gold coins. This man became very rich. Now imagine this poor man who lived the life of a beggar throughout his life, owned that pot of gold coin. They are his, but he never realized he had. He lived a beggar's life. Although he owned it, he inherited it. Same thing is true with me and with you, with everyone. That Satchidanand, God is Satchidanand and Aham Brahmasmi. I have won that inner joy. I won, really. That's ever new joy is there inside. But all the time, I'm not aware of it. I never dig. I never use the pickaxe of meditation to contact that. I'll just live like a beggar. I want some little bit happiness which my eyes can give through TV. Watch TV, I'm so happy. No eyes can give. Begging, a little bit tongue. Whatever food I can give, I'm happy. Whatever I can hear, touch. The senses, whatever joy they can give, I'm just happy. Just like a beggar. Real treasure is here. Ever new joy, perpetual joy. Meditation is a pickaxe to dig. Now, I'll go to meditations. What science behind meditation? It is not arbitrary, just do something. It's not arbitrary, it's very scientific. That's the beauty of the teachings of Paramahamsa Yoganandaji. Very scientific. It doesn't depend on belief. It is as scientific as 3 plus 4 equals 7. For Indians, Americans, Hindus, Muslims, men, women, 3 plus 4 equals 7. Meditation, practice this, practice this, practice this, the result is this. It doesn't depend on our belief, but practice. So one person approached a saint and asked, I am very busy in life, I don't have much time. Please tell me what is God in one sentence. I don't have time for your lectures. Tell me what is God in one sentence. He said, why one sentence? One word will do. Huh? What is it? Silence. But God is silence. Yes, silence. So what is silence? Meditation. How do you meditate? In silence. How do you get that silence? By meditation. Now here, the 3 words, God, silence, meditation are used as if they refer to the same thing, which is true. In the highest sense, the silence the saint is speaking about is not silence of mere vocal cords. Vocal cords have to be silent. Thoughts have to be silent. Eyes have to be silent. Ears have to be silent. Skin has to be silent. Emotions have to be silent. Anxieties have to be silent. That is this deep silence he is talking about. Personally, a better word for me is stillness. Still. In that stillness within, where eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, mind, thoughts, emotions, nothing will disturb you. Where are you? Imagine a state where you don't have any thoughts, no emotions, no anxieties, no smelling, no hearing. Closest you can think of is sleep. But in sleep, mind is not under control. Meditation is there, you get the same, like conscious sleep. The same rest, you don't hear, you don't listen, you don't feel bad, anything, but mind is in control. That is stillness, deeper stillness, which can only be attained by meditation, scientifically. It is said that God's image is within us. God is within us. God's reflection is within us. If God's reflection is within us, why can't I see? The classical example given in spiritual literature is this. If you want to see the reflection of moon on a lake, the lake has to be still. If a lake is ruffled, you can't see the reflection. Even if you see, it is distorted. Same thing, God is in me, but the lake of my mind, the lake of my consciousness are always disturbed. That's why I'm not able to perceive. So it is not in doing, in its being. It's not in action, in awareness. We perceive that divinity within. We contact that joy within. Meditation is the key. Okay, then one more point, then I'll close. That is, if I want to meditate, let's say, we all want to meditate, I'm sure. Because one statement goes like this. Everyone would like to meditate, if only one knows how to meditate. If you know how to meditate, definitely you would like to meditate, because it gives you so much within, not from something to get from outside. And here, if I want to meditate, first thing is thoughts. Thoughts keep on disturbing. That's the major problem. Major hurdle is thought for everyone who wants to meditate. Our scientists, not our scientists, our ancient rishis, sages, sadhus found that by experiment over centuries, not by years or decades, by experiment over the centuries, they found that there is a relation between mind and breath. Breath and mind are related. And it's very difficult for you and me to control our minds. It is very difficult. The more you try to control, the more it runs. Mind is not in our control. But we can control the mind by some kind, exerting by some kind of control on the breath. Because these two are related. That is why pranayama techniques, many of them, not all necessarily, many of them involved in some kind of breath, something to do with breath. By doing something to do with breath, the mind gets under control. That is one of the principles of Kriya Yoga, taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. We do pranayama, something to do with breath, and the result is mind gets under control. When mind gets under control, it's freed from senses, like hearing, seeing, touching, all these things won't bother you, like conscious sleep. And that freedom from all senses gives you so much joy. You are contacting your real self. That is ever new joy. That is the principle behind this. And here it's all scientific, not just reading. You have to do it yourself, because you would agree that you cannot eat for me. I have to eat. And definitely I cannot meditate for you. You have to meditate, because it's its own self-improvement. And those who are interested, our society, our organization, Yoga Satsang Society, This is our major activity, to teach mankind scientific techniques of meditation through which one can get direct personal experience of divinity within. Experience of divinity within means perfect joy, unconditional joy. I can be so happy in spite of what's happening around me, in spite of what is happening to me. And once experiences the perfect love, God is also love, not only joy, wisdom, every intuition, all that comes one by one. I mean, that's our main thing. We have 4 techniques known as Hangsa technique of concentration. It improves our concentration. Then Om technique, where we try to contact God in one of his aspects, sound vibration, Om vibration. Third is Kriya Yoga. It's a psychophysiological technique by which we take the excess oxygen through a special breathing. That's how we get interiorization. And we have energization exercise where we energize the body every day. Morning 15 minutes, evening 15 minutes. I would like to stop here. Those who are interested are welcome to inquire. And we give these teachings through lessons, what we call. For example, here is a lesson. Lesson is it's a notebook. Highest achievements through self-realization, through pranayama techniques. Like that, we have anyone interested, you can subscribe. We send the lessons to your home address. And the same lesson is also available as an app on your mobile or laptop. Once you subscribe there, also you can read, and you can also get hard copy. Both are available. So you read and practice. You don't have to necessarily come to the ashram to learn. But that's an advantage. When personally you can learn definitely better, easy. But you can do this. Any questions, we can clarify on phone, through letter, email, all the procedure is there. But basic thing is, you are subscribed to these lessons. For this, you can go to our website is there, known as yssofindia.org. YSS means Yoga Satsang Society. YSSofindia.organization. Or look for something, Param Yogananji, Autobiography Yogi, what, through any means you can get to that website. Once you get the website, you get the details of the lessons, how to subscribe. Online application is there to subscribe. We have right now available in English and Hindi. Other languages will be available soon. I would like to stop here because it's time, unless you have anything to ask or conclude.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful discourse and your stories. I have personally attended a lot of sessions, but none have made me think and introspect about my inner self in such a capacity. Like the whole idea of what joy really means. We couldn't have asked for anyone else to have started today's session on such a thoughtful and auspicious note. And I'm sure our participants have learned a lot today. And everyone who wants to meditate, I mean, including me, they will just get a push and be practicing your words. Thank you so much, Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. Gaurav,
Skill India mission on the first day of Plumb Skills Expo organized by Indian Plumbing Skills Council. We will begin this session with a short video by IPSC.
Shruti, I'm not getting the voice.
Yeah. Isha, could you reshare?
Just 1 second. Let me share it again.
भारतीय उत्पादों को खरीदने वाले हर एक कस्टमर का दिल भी जीतना। हमारे प्रोडक्ट क्वालिटी में जितने बेहतर होंगे उतनी ही ताकत देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को मिलेगी।
बहुत मजबूत नींव स्किल इंडिया मिशन इस देश में पड़ी है। भारत के इन प्रयत्नों पर भारत के अंदर और भारत के बाहर लोगों का आकर्षण बढ़ा है। रोजगार और उद्यम की सारी संभावनाएं यदि आज बनी हुई है तो उसमें स्किल इंडिया डिपार्टमेंट से, स्किल इंडिया मिशन से भी उनका सीधा नाता है।
I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the dignitaries for this discussion. The panelists for this session are Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar, Chief Program Officer at NSDC, and Mr. K. Veer Raghav Rao, Managing Director of TNSDC. I would now like to introduce the moderator for this session, Dr. Praveen Saxena. Dr. Praveen Saxena is the Chief Executive Officer of Skill Council for Green Jobs at Skill India Mission. Dr. Saxena superannuated as the advisor in Ministry of New and Renewable Energy and Director General of National Institute of Solar Energy in 2015. He is an international expert with enriched experience of providing leadership and strategic vision on energy policy, institution building, and consultancy to other countries in renewable energy. He is also involved in planning and coordinating with in-house as well as multilateral partners on energy, promoting knowledge and management through publications in international journals, networking and capacity building, and research and development. Recently, Dr. Saxena was conferred with the International Business Leadership Innovation Excellence Award by Institute of Economic Studies by the Government of Malaysia. He has over 50 research publications in international journals and has represented India's interests in renewable energy in various multilateral organizations as well as international forums. I now hand the stage and this discussion over to you, sir. Dr. Saxena, you're on mute.
Am I audible? Shruti, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. I'm extremely sorry. I think there is some difficulty. I would temporarily keep my video off when I am speaking. And thank you very much for inviting me as moderator to this session on government initiative to bridge supply demand, role of states in Skill India mission. Thank you very much. Dear audience, I'm very pleased to inform that we have a very enriched panel today. We have Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar. She is the main architect of various programs being implemented by National Skill Development Corporation. Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar is the main lead team in NSDC. She has been working on various programs in NSDC, including research, marketing analysis, and more so, in fact, quality assurance and the qualification packs, what we see as the backbone of Skill India mission. She has 27 years of experience in financing, banking. She has been the most important role she has played in the World Bank as far as the skilling is concerned. The most important and the interesting thing is that she is from one of the most prestigious college of Delhi, St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and she has done her MBA from IIM Calcutta. Welcome, Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar, and we are looking forward for your enriched experience. The second panelist today with us is Mr. Raghav Rao. He is Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Skill Development Corporation. Mr. Rao is IAS officer of 2007 batch, and he has been district collector for various districts in Tamil Nadu. In fact, what I saw from his profile today was that he is the person who has been really attached to the ground, and we will have his experience today to know what actually happens on ground. And he has been attached with the skilling program for quite some time. He has been conferred with the Honorable President of India ICI Award. In fact, I see a list of awards he has received from President, Chief Minister, Vice President, and more so that for us, actually, for this session, most important is that he is looking after a state government skill development corporation, one of the most important states in skilling, and he has his own experience as to how states would handle this program. Thank you very much, both the panelists. I heartily welcome both of you. As far as the today's discussion is concerned, how government is planning to bridge the supply and demand gap. In fact, this has been one of the most important aspect of skilling. Are we able to bridge the gap between supply and demand? Supply from the manpower, which we have abandoned in our country, and demand from our industry. Skilling has always been looked at bridging that gap of what industry wants and what we are able to supply to them. From my olden days, I have been hearing that industry is not getting what they want from our education or from ITI system or many other systems. Is skilling able to bridge that gap? That is a one question. And if so, how we have planned our programs and how now states would see. First of all, I would like to come to Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar, who is at the moment looking at various, in fact, she has an experience of seeing this program from last 5 years or so, seen PMKVY 2, PMKVY 3, and probably she is also very much involved in planning PMKVY 4. So I would request Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar to first share her experience in the past PMKVY 2 and 3 as to how it progressed and how we have been now planning to move to PMKVY 4.
Thank you, Dr. Saxena, and it's a privilege to be part of this panel. And I'd like to congratulate firstly the Indian Plumbing Skill Council for all the excellent work they've been doing. And thank you for the very warm introduction. I think it's a very important topic that we have today. This is a theme and an issue that has been in debate and deliberation at various fora across the years. And this whole challenge of matching demand and supply is really at the center of a lot of the interventions being planned, both in skilling as well as in education to some level now. When we look at the programs that, especially the national government program on PMKVY, I think there has been a gradual evolution in the nature of the program, and the key of this is how do we establish the connect between programming happening of skills interventions with the ground reality, which is very, very diverse in our country's context. So if we look at PMKVY 1, it began as a very centralized intervention. It was purely run from the central side, NSDC led that. It was just a one-year program. And that in a way was, I would say, a proof of concept, the way it was designed and run. And that led to the design and creation of PMKVY 2, which was a far more ambitious intervention. And it envisaged a role for state governments as part of that program. 25% of the scheme targets were assigned to states, mainly for the short-term training. And that actually was a way to spread the idea of skilling and training programs under government funding across the country. Over the 4-5 years that PMKVY 2 program has been in implementation, I think we've seen a very significant change in the adoption of skill programs across the country by different states. Many states have actually picked up many ideas from that, and of course developed their own design elements and taken forward skilling initiatives in their own contexts as per their requirements. And some others are still at a relatively early stage of developing those institutional capacities. But the important thing was that the state played an important role in spreading awareness about the PMKVY 2 program, and also to align it with many of the other programs, national or state level, which were taking place in their particular contexts, whether it was the Jan Dhan program, the entrepreneurship related program, Startup India, and even things like Kaushal Melas, which were meant to establish Better Placement Connect. State governments had a fairly active role to play. Now, this whole effort which PMKVY 2 did to engage states has now been taken forward in PMKVY 3, which is again a relatively limited intervention as of now. In a way, it's kind of an interim program till we roll out the next phase, which is PMKVY 4. But the principles of involving states has been taken further in PMKVY 3. And that is basically, in fact, taken it right up to the district levels. And under PMKVY 3, we have a bottom-up approach, which is envisaging district skill committees, which were created under a World Bank intervention, and have them play a very active role in mobilizing candidates, counseling them, and thereafter, in fact, before that, even identifying which are the job roles in which the skilling needs to take place. MSDE had a very strong view that we need to activate the districts and states in articulating what are the kind of areas in which they require skilling, because this was a point on which there had been a lot of feedback that had been received by the ministry. So the input has to come from the districts on what are the job roles on which training needs to be provided. So 25% again is envisaged to be done under the state component, but even under the central component, the states and districts will be contributing significantly to what kind of trainings will take place. And apart from that, in the state component, there has also been addition of the RPL component, which was not there in the previous PMKVY 2. So it's extended the various program components further into in PMKVY 3, where states can even take forward RPL interventions. I think this is a very important evolution of the program. It was necessary, and it actually follows a pattern which is seen in other sectors as well, where a national government program initiates a program with a certain design agenda and advocacy on a particular sector intervention. And then in time, states adopt many parts of it, build their institutional capacities, evolve it as per their requirements. And that in a way takes the program to a point where it is more relevant and customized to local requirements. So this is where we are at right now. And I think apart from that, one of the important themes that has been discussed at length is how do we have greater convergence? So if Ministry of Skill Development has this scheme, METI might have a scheme which has a target of providing future skills for their IT sector. Ministry of Food Processing might have their intervention for enabling food processing entrepreneurship. How do we provide more convergence across ministries and ensure that the outcome is therefore more 2 plus 2 is actually 5 and not actually 3, the way it happens sometimes because of lack of convergence. So this convergence actually has to take place again at the state and district levels. So under Jal Jeevan Mission, under Swachh Bharat, Saubhagya Mission, a lot of the implementation takes place at the state level. School education, which is a very, very critical part of this. Also, the states have a very crucial role to play. And we see skilling getting integrated into those programs by the states, by the districts, as part of their implementation of those programs. Recently, we have partnered or we've received a request from Government of Madhya Pradesh under Jal Jeevan Mission, where they've asked for implementation of RPL under Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, it's for the states to really adopt the national component and integrate it with their state component under a completely separate mission. So I think the states will be continuing to play an increasingly important role as we go forward. I'll add further as we go along, but I think stop here for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vannaji. In fact, one most interesting thing I was seeing when you were speaking is that the last 10 years of skilling program or Skill India Mission program has really catalyzed the institutionalized mechanism in the states. So the main achievement of the Skill India Mission running from the center has been that now all states are so enthusiastic to pick up this program and do that. I'll come back to you again with some more questions which are there in my mind. At the moment, move towards Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao, welcome to this panel discussion. And in fact, I can see that you are traveling. And thank you so much for giving us some time to so that we can understand how states are looking at this gradual, I will say, gradual shift from central government scheme to state government, and what roles you are envisaging. What roles you are envisaging to see how states would be able to play a critical role in implementing or making, in fact, Skill India Mission successful. Mr. Rao.
Thank you, sir. And, Sri Dr. Saxena and Madam Vandana and Shruti and all the panelists. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And let me congratulate India Plumbing Skill Council for organizing a fantastic expo and inviting me and other panelists for sharing their experiences with all the participants. So first, excuse me for the inconvenience. I'm traveling. I just attended one of the mega job fair, which has been conducted in Tiruvarur district in Tamil Nadu, which Madam was speaking about job melas across the country. So post-COVID scenario from November onwards, we started conducting various small and mega job fairs in various districts. In the last 3-4 months, we have conducted in around 20 programs. As on date, around 20,000 people have been placed. One such program I have attended today and returning back. So bear with me for the inconvenience. If any connectivity problem also, please bear with me. And coming back to the subject, I'm very happy to hear Madam Vandana speaking about our PMKVY program, which is a grand success in the country. It's in line with our country's Skill India Mission, Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Skill India Mission, where skilling is very, very important. You know very well that our country is having a huge advantage of youth and a very prime workforce. The problem with us is exactly our system of education, where we are more on theory oriented and practical skill training. There is a gap between industry and the education system. So exactly the skill development programs and missions across the country in various states are exactly trying our best to bridge this gap. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I
fine.
clear?
Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Right. Thank you. So in Tamil Nadu state, to show the example, PMKVY, we have implemented PMKVY 1, 2, and now launched 3. And it's successfully implemented. As it's in the discussion of this panel, it's told the model in PMKVY 3 also changed from top down to bottom up. A lot of role is being given district skill committees, and close monitoring of the training partners is going on. And in Tamil Nadu state, Tamil Nadu skill development corporation is there almost. And since it's in such short-term skill training programs, recognition of prior learning program to brush up the youth, particularly job seekers, in brushing up the skill requirements to suit the industry demand. So exactly, we have run almost more than 8 lakh people have been trained in the special programs of the state government as special allocations are there. And another important thing which we have started, apart from our implementing EMKVI program, Epic Skill Development Centers, which is a very unique thing, particularly covering various important sectors. We started each sector, we have allocated about 20 crores, and we have tied up with the industry partner, lead implementation partner from private sector, who is coordinating and representing the industry, has been given equal stake with the government, and government is sponsoring almost 20 crores for setting up Apex Skills Development Center, which are of the state of the art kind of centers which we are developing in various sectors, including healthcare, automobile, and we have construction and infrastructure, very important, relevant to this, and logistics and banking, finance, and insurance. Coming to this sector, construction infrastructure, very wide scope is there in the initial presentation. It has been told what is the scope, and next near future, what is the scope of this sector. So accordingly, we have started an Apex Skill Development Center in this construction and infrastructure sector also, so we can understand the demands of the industry. It will be very current. We will have consultations with the industry partners. We'll understand the demands. Another side, we know that the education, all the graduates who are passing out, all the polytechnicians who are passing out, all the ITIs, students who are passing out, or any other people who are passing out from various courses to take up into the industry, the skill gap is going to be met through this special training programs. So this is how we are planning, and we are working on it. And definitely it should be a continuous consultation between the industry demands. We should understand that we should have a designing of the training programs. Accordingly, we will do that. So in that scenario, role of the states is very, very important, and district also very, very important. Field, if you see the districts, industry may not be present, but the human resources are present everywhere. So we need to train the human resources across all the districts to meet out the demands of industry at certain places, so that they can be absorbed exactly into the requirements of the industry, so that we can create good employment for all our people and boost the economic development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao, but I'm not going to leave you at this point. I had a very interesting suggestion. For 5 minutes, just think that you are not MD of Tamil Nadu Skill Development Corporation, and you are a district collector. Okay, because we are all somehow focusing on or pushing that districts should start planning. You have experience. I think 3 or 4 districts you have already experienced. You have been their commissioner and all, and had many other positions. So just forget that you are once again heading the entire state skilling. Go to the district and guide us as to how a district collector would try to aggregate the information of what kind of a skilling is required. Just that perspective would be a very interesting perspective for us.
Sir, I'll be very happy for that, because I've been a district collector all along till recently, almost for about my 8.5 years. Only 3 months I am heading our skill development corporation, so I can definitely give a perspective. A district, particularly, sir, madam, and all the panelists and all the audience, see, our country is quite diverse, and district is a unit where we can plan and implement and take policy guidance from the government. So I have worked in 3 districts. One is Tiruvallur, which is suburb of Chennai, between 12 to 16. All the industry, like power sector, chemical industry, logistics, all the hard industry a dirty industry or hot industry, whatever we call, of Chennai was there in Tiruvallur district. I worked in Madurai from 16 to 18, where it is like it has IT, it is manufacturing all, it's like a moderate industry belt. Recently, I worked in Ramanathapuram district, which is an aspiration district, which is completely backward, hardly any industry except solar power, and rest all is tourism. So if you see all these three districts, it has human resources common. It has engineering students common. It has ITS students common. So though the industry presence is not there across all the districts, the human resources are there across all the districts. So the planning of skilling our human resources should be almost, it not change from district to district. A little variation may be there. So the district skill committees, which have been given very good role under our PMKVY, should plan the district skill development plan. That's also part of our PMKVY program, which is a very good, which is in a very good direction. But the unfortunate problem is district collectors and the district skill training officers should, of course, they will spare. Some district, it all depends on the individual also. We should give adequate time and do a lot of brainstorming on the district skill development plan, which is being prepared. So we should give adequate time for that so that they can plan out their requirements and their strengths and weaknesses and the potential pool of the human resources so that they can plan out various programs. And second, we have a variety of programs being given under PMKY, and also scheme is a little flexible, but it should, whenever a district skill committee gives certain kinds of requests and requirements for a skilling from the district, it should be seriously examined and we should accept if it is in good spirit and requirement. That is another thing. Coming back on the industrial demand side, sir and madam, and we have, every area is different. So definitely based on the potential of the area, we should plan that. And across, we should have a cross movement of the human resource pool across the districts, across the states. So that's why our NSDC also started NCVET program where uniform certification, etc., will be of some use for the trained candidates to move across and get jobs. So these are all the very good inputs we get from district. We should give a good weightage for the district skill committees and the people and in the field. So that will definitely make this program successful. That's the reason why this program also changed this approach from coming to PMKVY 1.0 to PMKVY 3.0. And now the funding also is in the process of decentralizing or devolving. It seems, I expect the process it is going on. So definitely we should give a good weightage for DSC. District, it varies across the country. A lot of potential strengths are there, both on the HR side and also industrial availability.
Thank you very much.
My
Thank you
feedback,
very much.
okay,
It
sir?
definitely gives us some good idea of how we should plan. Ms. Vandaji, I would like to ask one or two slightly different questions, in the sense we have come out, or we are in the process of coming out from COVID, and this has given us a very new kind of a dimension of skilling being to be sort of partly done through online mode. What is the thought process of Government of India, NSDC, as to how skilling can move from a physical training to online training, one, and how we can move towards more market mode trainings, away from, little away from, I will not say away from, but little away from the conventional way of PMKVY or government supported schemes. So two questions from one, how online, because you have been, I know you have been deeply involved in content development, learning and things like that. So that has been your experience. So how do you think that we should plan, or the country should be ready for skilling partly through online mode? And second question is how the market mode would be seen in the coming years.
So thank you, and it was fascinating to even hear Mr. Rao's views on the district's, perspective. And I'm sure that journey is yet to be, moved forward to a large extent. I'm just adding further to that earlier question. in terms of capacity and in terms of providing information guidance to districts. So that I think will remain a very important part of the decentralization process. But coming to your question on online learning, actually that really is going to be the big focus and push going forward, because our country is so large and so diverse that attempting to cover the entire requirement through the brick and mortar format will take decades. And we do need to have now we have much better platforms available for people to access, and the country's population is getting access to the internet at a scale never before. So the opportunities are there, both in terms of content getting populated on the internet and access to internet. And I think COVID has just given a whole new impetus to online interface. So at NSDC, we had begun this effort of aggregating online learning resource materials across different platforms, which would be relevant for skill development. And the idea was to try and create a repository at eSkill India platform, which would provide courses that would be relevant for anybody seeking vocational learning. And we're happy to say that over 850 courses have been aggregated from close to 40 partners, ranging from universities to companies like Microsoft, Salesforce, etc. And international entities like Sailor Academy, California State University, and 70% of these courses are free because these entities have offered their content to quite an extent free of cost, keeping in mind the mission mode that is there for the country and the development objectives. Now, the catch is, how do you encourage the youth to learn through these platforms? And the good thing is, through COVID, interest grew. Uh, the enrollments have reached 6.5 lakhs on our platform, and it's clearly a lot of interest. But I think what we know is that there needs to be a blended kind of approach also to be considered, where there is probably a more of a physical practice component that's required. So the work that's underway is to provide frameworks to allow online training to get formalized as part of the curriculum that have been designed by the sector skill councils. So the sector skill councils have done an excellent job in giving feedback on which are the parts of their courses that are amenable to online learning and which are the parts which are needing physical practical interface. So what's been seen as the theory component, which is there in a lot of the qualifications, is considered to be amenable to being delivered through online mode. And this could be done through virtual instructor-led training classes, which are equivalent to a physical classroom, but done through online platforms. So you have an instructor who's delivering the course, but it could be through pre-designed e-modules, which are video recording, pre-designed templates of presentations, etc., which the student is expected to run through on their own. So both formats of learning can be encouraged. And the good thing is that PMKVY 3 has, for the first time, provided for online learning to be part of the framework. And that was not the case in the previous versions of PMKVY. In fact, RPL also, there is a provision for online RPL, which was again not there earlier. The assessments also are being encouraged to be moved towards online or remote proctored assessments. So in general, I think the effort will be to leverage online platforms to the maximum extent possible, because they are scalable and will be cost effective and are more transparent. But having said that, there are a lot of parts where people do not have digital access with devices of the right kind, and internet has a certain cost. So there we must make sure that the physical connect is provided. So this whole approach is being formulated, and I think on the market side, it's linked partly to the online part also. What we are looking at is, how can we look at co-pay models be encouraged more? So basically, you have right now a situation where the government runs completely free programs, and then there are training programs that are paid for by the student or companies, which is under the market-led model. But there is possibly a case for introducing copay, where partly government subsidy is coming into the courses, and partly it's either the student or companies who are paying for it. It's something which we do in a limited way in the special projects window, but it's very small. And this will be needed because under the courses which are required for future skilling, like data analytics or IoT, etc., these are more aspirational courses which will cost more. And it's not going to be feasible for the government to fund that completely free of cost entirely. And it will also be important for students to have a stake in the learning process. So there, these kind of shared paid models would be relevant, and we're exploring that kind of an approach to begin with, with possibly with edX, looking at a few of their courses, if that can be done in a co-pay model. But I think the market-based, pure market-based training programs have a very important role to play, because they actually are most closely aligned with what the market requires. And it is very, very important that that part of the skilling ecosystem is nurtured and fostered, and is not allowed to be undermined in any way. So that is, I think, something where the industry connect has to be very strongly fostered. And I think the key will be how closely we work with industry in that, because when we work closely with industry, the product will be best aligned to the requirements of the market. And that's when the value proposition is the most. And that's when somebody will be willing to pay for it. Because when you don't have a strong value proposition, nobody is going to be willing to pay for it. So that's, I think, where the key will be. And I think important thing there is to also capture information very closely on what the market requires in terms of the kind of manpower, their attributes on skills. And one of the things which we've done, which the sector skill councils have been contributing actively to, is to capture the job information more actively. And that's something which the ASEEM platform is now giving very rich insights to also. And we think that that would allow us to then program our training activity more closely with where the demand is, and maybe probably tweak the programs where required to specific requirements of industry. So these are things which are still a little more at a nascent stage on how do we bring the strength of government subsidy to what market models do, and also to support market models on their own. Another bit of activity which is underway is to look at generating funds from the market. There are a lot of people and organizations who are interested in supporting skill development, and impact funds are there, philanthropic funds are there, and they would be also very interested in supporting industry-linked programs where the employment connect is very strong. So we are looking at creating vehicles which will allow that kind of funding to be brought in and be channeled towards these kind of programs. And one more quick point I do want to make when you're talking about the role of states. I think the part related to migrant workers is a very important one. And since you're talking in the context of the Plumbing Sector Skill Council, there are certain sectors where work is characterized very much by migration. And if we look at even the ASEEM data, we find that the demand for job roles in the plumbing sector is highest in Maharashtra, Karnataka, while as the training on these is maximum in UP, West Bengal, Punjab, Odisha, which means that manpower will have to move. And as of now, there isn't really systematic infrastructure support systems to enable migrant workers to do that transition without too much stress on them, financial or emotional. And the state governments will have a very crucial role to play to facilitate that migrant workers transition. And I believe Tamil Nadu has done some very, very excellent work in providing those kind of support infrastructure for migrant workers, whether it's hostel facilities or community-based arrangements, which I think are the models which we need to emulate. So states will not just need to look at skilling in a very limited way, but take it right up to the point where they are moving into jobs and make them stay in jobs rather than run back within 1 month after joining a job. So I think states will have a very crucial role there also.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I'll quickly once again come to Mr. Rao. In fact, on some of the points which Vandana has made, to react on that from the state point of view. And secondly, very keen to know as to how is state also thinking of moving to online kind of a skilling activities, partly, at least if not in full, some part of skilling done online, and that also would help us in creating that kind of a digital India enabling situation. So what do you think about it? Is it too premature, or is it too hypothetical, or do you think that yes, it is possible?
It is quite possible. That's the same lines our Apex Skill Development Centers, which I remarked in my opening remarks, are aligned in the same way. Whatever Madam just spoke right now regarding one, development of the content of all the training programs into e-content, and then also taking consultation with the industry, their demands, and then designing courses accordingly. All this part of our Apex Skill Development Centers in important 5 sectors, which we have emphasized, and now we are just starting. Already health and logistics, we have started training also. All the modules which are being developed are e-content also being developed, and that is being launched. But again, this is also a model of blended, like apart from our sponsored training programs under PMKY and our state government's short-term skill training and RPL, these are all charged programs in consultation with the industry and also needed people. And second, coming to the online mode of training, yes, it gives wide access to all, and the people can access remotely. Nowadays, technology is not a problem. For past 45 minutes, I'm traveling and it is not disconnected. I'm traveling in a rural area only. So that's good. It's a good sign. Little variation across the country, but technological access is there. It's cheap, but it has a limitation. It can reach up to the skilling to a limit. It's again a next level theory, a better theory than the academic. Ultimately, to make all our people fully skilled in work, apart from this, we need to widen. Now we are having a classroom mode of skill training. Either if it is long-term ITIs, we are having a short-term under PMKV or short-term training. RPL, we are having training partners and we are training them. We should upscale it to the next level where industry or any small unit also, when they take the people, they should give a training for a period of time. For example, I recently, 3 months back, my experience I can share. I was collector Ramanathapuram. There, a big hospital, almost it's a medical college is being constructed. It's a project of about 500 crores, all full construction. All the workers have come from, I think, around Chhattisgarh and Bihar, various states they have come. During my inspection, I asked the contractor. I have found certain things, even in that bar bending and making the joints, I have remarked some things. And I said, he is having around 200 workers permanently stationed. During COVID and post-COVID scenario time, they are being stationed there. I asked whether you have given you spared a week time instead of extracting work from them, whether you have spent training them so that the supervisor, the workers on the site, they're going to be there, 200, 300, 400 people, they're going to be on the site for about 5, 6 months or 10 months or 1 year, whatever period. Even in such scenario, it's considerably a good employer where you can run a training program by calling, it need not be a design train, calling an expert engineer from our PWD and a contractor, set of team of people can be there. They can train for a week so that the quality of work of those 400 people would have been far better instead of straight away and letting them onto the job. So these kind of things we need to bring in across the country so that every on-the-site training, very simple, it's a very routine job. a day or 2 or 3 days of training exclusively instead of extracting work, that will change the quality. Exactly these kind of things we need to look forward in near future. Apart from online, definitely it will have an access, but ultimately a skilled manpower comes with the hands-on experience, particularly in all this construction and logistics sector. If it is a banking, finance, or if it is something else, they can be, it's a good option for online modes, because data analytics, IT, all this can take on online modes. But whereas coming to the construction, infra, logistics, all healthcare, all these sectors requires, particularly we are speaking in the context of plumbing skill, it requires hands-on definitely. Coming to the migrant workers, madam was also remarking about good work done in Tamil Nadu state and across the country. We have developed a special portal. Instead, we were not during COVID time also, we were encouraging them to stay back instead. Like if they can stay back, they can stay back. Accordingly, we are providing a lot of facilities like stay facilities, food facilities, provisions we have given. We have tied up toll-free numbers. So many things were done. After that, returning people, Tamil Nadu natives returning from outside, and people who are going from Tamil Nadu to outside, we have developed a full-fledged database. People who are returning, we have developed a database so that we can train them on their skill. So that database has been developed and digitized so that we can map our requirements, and accordingly we can take up the skilling. So migrant workers on both sides, not the Tamil Nadu only recipient. We get a lot of people from Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Jharkhand for construction work, etc. Again, here also people are going to somewhere else, like Gulf or somewhere. I can speak again the experience of Ramanathapuram. It's a 15 lakh population. 1 lakh people are living either in West Asia or in Malaysia or Southeast Asia, working as laborers, cooks, construction workers, drivers, all this. So we can map them. We can give a good skill set. So that's exactly what we have done. When all these people are returning, we have taken the database so that we can design a good skilling program. So that whether they leave country or they stay here back, their skilling, quality and employability and productivity will be better. So these are the aspects which we have been working and will be continuing to do in that.
Thank you so much. And we are almost coming to the end of our session. But one very inconvenient question to you. And that is, being in the list of 50-60 items to be done at district level by DM or commissioner, where the skill figures? At what number?
Exactly, sir. Yeah, to be very frank, I was speaking in my previous talk also. In many districts, now at least some concentration is there. And I have almost 2012 onwards, up to 2020 November, I was collector. To be very frank, in my first district, this was not a concentrated activity at all. Now the district skill committees have been formed, and now it is taking an importance, but still, again, it is not taking the priority as it deserves at the district collector level, to be very frank, because it's a very important thing. We are not envisaging its importance because it has an indirect impact on our complete productivity and economic growth of our country. So that much importance is not being given in the district. Now with this more and more concentration on this activity by the government, and also formation of district skill committees and regular monitoring, collectors also taking now good interest. And I was working in my last district, in the aspiration district. That's why I was concentrating a lot on this. But otherwise, in my previous two districts, to admit very frankly, it was not on my priority list. So the same thing will be applicable for more or less all the collectors across the country.
I'm quite sure. That's why I asked this question to you, because while we all know this thing, but still it's important to once again keep on the question was to him, but the answer was for you, Vandaji, and I'm sure this message we all understand, but this is where we have to probably hit the nail that yes, that sensitivity has to come at the district level and a proper planning at the district level is required. I would also like to inform the audience that sector skill councils are all there to support the state activities, and what all we have learned over a period of last 10 years, cumulative, we will be very happy to pass on that knowledge and information. And I'm quite sure NSDC, probably one of the most able organizations to structure the programs in that manner. Thank you very much, both the panelists. If you have any specific last point to be made, Vannaji, anything you would like to say?
Well, I think you said it, that it's really going to be very important for sector skill councils to engage more deeply with the state missions and districts. And from NSDC, we'd be happy to support that interaction process also, and to disseminate information capacity building effort along with the Ministry of Skill Development. So that's what I'd like to just share with you.
Thank you very much, both the panelists. I really appreciate it. It was very, in fact, having less panelists is always good, that at least you are able to extract out what they think about from inside. Thank you very much, both of you. Shruti, up to you now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
We'd like to thank all of you, Dr. Saxena, sir, you also, for joining us today. And we're looking forward to seeing all the audience tomorrow again with a lot of activities from IPSC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all the audience.